What is up and how's it going? Welcome into another edition of the Noble Steady Sorta Sports Talk. I am your host, Tyler, here with Joey and Shane O'Mac. How's it going again, gentlemen?
It's cold. It's cold. And I mean, it's so cold, people are playing hockey on Canal Street. So,
Yeah, we're coming from you from frigid New Orleans, Louisiana, where we experienced about, a foot of snow? I'm just going to round up. Screw it.
I would
I
say
saw-
1 foot, yeah.
I saw somebody had 19 inches of snow in this area.
It's wild, man. It's absolutely wild. We didn't know what to do with it. It was a lot of fun yesterday. I'm kind of over it. You can go back, Mother Nature, Jack Frost. You can go back where you came from. We need some warmth back. I'm a little over it. Shane, how are you surviving? I know you're usually a fan of the cold. Did you finally reach your breaking point on this one, buddy?
No, I was out in shorts and a short sleeve shirt, carrying Rue to the grass spot I saved for. So I love the weather. I don't like not being able to drive around. That's the only thing that bugs me.
That's true. That's true. And Lord knows that down here in the South, we do not know how to drive in the snow. I saw quite a few people spinning out over on where I live. So, we had some people watching. We had some snowball fights. We tried a snowman. Really didn't work out. Kind of worked out better this morning. But it was a good time. Good time.
I definitely walked from my apartment to my in-laws' house, which is about, I want to say about a mile, maybe. Wasn't a bad walk until I went back home when the wind was in my face and I was getting pelted with ice pellets. But
why do I have an image of you like Dennis Quaid in the freaking Day After Tomorrow? Like, oh, we must make it through this blizzard.
I wasn't that. It wasn't that
along.
planned out. It was like this hoodie, another hoodie, gloves, jeans with some long johns, and some boots. And when I was walking back, it was all of that with a beer in my hand. So,
I mean, you at least did it right on the way back, right?
Yeah,
at least did it right. There you go. Well, gentlemen, let's just cut straight to the chase. Speaking of getting iced out, we have some breaking news today. The New York Jets are hiring Aaron Glenn, the former DC of the Detroit Lions, and we're getting iced out of that one, gentlemen. We do not even get a crack at him. Shane, what you think of the hire, buddy?
I think it's good for both parties. I thought it was a little surprising that they reported like right after it. Detroit gets 2 third-round comp picks, one this year and one next year. So they lose their DC and they get 2 thirds. I mean, that's pretty good for the Lions. I like Aaron Glenn. I think he's got the mentality for the New York market, and he's got thick skin, and he's inheriting some good players. So hopefully he can deal with the difficult owner and the difficult media. But I think he's got some tough skin.
Yeah, no, for real. Joey, let's get your opinion on this, and I'll circle back at the end to wrap this up.
It does kind of suck because the Saints had scheduled a in-person interview with him on Tuesday, which then had to get postponed. Well, I guess now canceled due to the wintry weather that was here. Good for New York. Like, that was him and like one other guy was like the top people I wanted. I think both of the guys I wanted full bore are all taken up in the same division. So now I just got to see who the Saints get. To piggyback off of your comment, Shane, about difficult owner, hopefully he could talk him out of using Madden ratings for who to pick and who to get and all that.
I don't know what they're doing in New York, brother. Both of those GMs.
It's both of those franchises as a whole. Like, I mean, you get out of the Manning years, and the Giants have obviously won more Super Bowls than the Jets. The Jets just seem to be the lovable loser that just kind of lumps around wherever the Giants are calling home. They're going to call home. It's how can two franchises be the same yet different?
Well, I mean, look at it, it's franchise quarterback. You get a franchise quarterback, it turns everything around. I mean, we'll see what he does at that position. I don't believe Aaron Rodgers is a franchise quarterback anymore. And of course, speak about Aaron Glenn right now in for the Jets. I think, they got their guy. I think he had, like y'all said, the personality to handle New York. Really kind of inspired me with some of the stuff he was saying leading up to the game against the Commanders. man, I was getting excited for him to be our coach, but look, hats off to the Jets. They didn't let their guy get out of the building, and we'll see where we go from here. There's a few we were talking off air. There's really 2-3 candidates that are kind of zeroing in for the Saints head coaching job, and we'll get to that after the latest one. We had to break another head coaching hire. We have Ben Johnson, the OC of the Detroit Lions, is now leaving to go coach the division rival Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams and try to turn around that development. I will say I love this hire. You know, the Bears are going for it. I don't hate it whatsoever. You get offensive mind, you pair him with Caleb Williams. You know, there is some rumblings that Ben Johnson's a peculiar kind of guy and may rub some people the wrong way, but I like the rumor that's being floated out there that they're going to hire Dennis Allen as their DC as well. So that way you have a steadying voice. And look, I've crapped on Dennis Allen a bunch in this podcast, and rightfully so, for his head coaching decisions. But as defensive coordinator, he has a proven track record. He turned the Saints around, had an elite defense for a good amount of years. I like the hire. Look, the Bears going in the right direction. Now get Caleb Williams some offensive lineman for the love of sweet baby Jesus. Shane, what do you think about the hire, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the perfect person for him to put with him. He like you said, he's a little strange. So is Caleb Williams. He's an offensive minded guy. He got the most out of I think golf, and he knows how to use people's pros and not try to get their cons in the way. So he's I think Caleb's going to have a good sophomore year they need to get him some offensive linemen. I think DA would be a great hire for their defense. They've got some good pieces on their defense that I think he could coach up. So it's a tough division. It's not going to be a tall task for the Bears but should be fun to watch.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the other reason I like the DA hire is they're not going to have to switch defenses, right? They're still going to be in that kind of 4-3 kind of alignment. So you don't have to spend resources and assets to change your entire defense around. So pour some more assets into both lines. I mean, you can never have too many linemen. So I like the hire. I really do. And, you know, we were wrong. We thought that Ryan Poles would really hold people back. And there was a rumor going around holding the Bears back from getting top candidates. There's a rumor going around that Ben Johnson wanted his choice of GM. So looks like that was false, and the Bears got their man. Joey, what do you got anything to say to wrap this one up?
Good for the Bears. The thing I'm interested to see is, are they going to fall into that same trap of, you know, a couple years down the road, what are they going to do at quarterback? Are they going to get to where, you know, let's say they don't develop Caleb Williams, or they're impatient with him? Will they rush him out to get another quarterback who then won't, you know, come to fruition of what they wanted that year and then fire Ben Johnson, which has been, you know, they drafted Justin Fields, fired their head coach. They drafted Mitch Trubisky, fired their head coach. So I'm interested to see how it goes. You know, it's a cycle as a Bears fan, and I would like to see them break that cycle, you know, give some Chicago fans a little bit of normalcy in life, as opposed to, okay, so I'll have Ben Johnson for a couple years to draft a quarterback and leave. I did like when they kind of did the little like, oh, look, Ben Johnson's here, woo, and then he just turns around and goes, all right, everybody get back to work.
Yeah, no, I think this hire is strictly fix Caleb Williams kind of hire, right? I think they've heard enough noise of them being like, oh, you have lame duck head coach and you draft the quarterback number 1 kind of thing. I think they'll clear house next time, because you're right. That narrative is definitely out there, and it has not worked for them. So you would hope the organization would have a little hindsight and realize that that's not the way you develop a quarterback. And one last news, I do want to break today. Yeah, we got a lot of breaking news today, guys, on the recap episode. Trent Baalke is out as the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They said they mutually parted ways. The way I read that is, hey, we were trying to hire head coaches and nobody wants to work with you. So thank you, but here's a boot in the butt and out the door. Joe, is that the way you kind of read it, or?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. You've had the success with the coaches you've had. What little success you've had. It's that franchise as a whole. They have one foot out the door, Jacksonville, even though they're building a brand new stadium. They're the feature team in London again every year. So, you know, that's a week of preparing that has some unnecessary, additions to it. I don't think these coaches like going to London. It changes their routine. It messes up their sleep schedules and all that. If I'm a head coach, I'm trying not to go to London as much as possible to give my team the best advantage that they can have.
Yeah, but I feel like, but it's 1 week a year. I mean, every team has to do it eventually. Unfortunately, that does come with the job.
Didn't Jacksonville do it 2 weeks in a row?
They do it 2 weeks in a row, and then they get their bye week. So
I mean, vacation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that wouldn't be a make or break kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. It'd be more ownership, kind of like you were alluding to with the Bears. It's like, man, you're trusting a guy that A, has messed up draft picks, B, greenlit Urban Meyer being the head coach. Dude, nobody wants to work with that.
So on the Urban Meyer thing, did anybody predict that it was going to be that bad?
I knew it wouldn't be. I hate Urban Meyer, so yes, I thought it was a terrible hire.
Like, I didn't think it was going to be that bad out the gate. I thought it was going to be like, hey, it's going to be a shorter time frame.
Urban Meyer doesn't know how to lose. Whenever he loses, he like crumbles. Like he's a sore loser. He had some mysterious illness pop up when he started losing to Florida, and then a year later he was cured and went to Ohio State. So I mean, like the Urban Meyer thing, I don't think anyone had high hopes for it, and it didn't start off well with some of the stuff that came out outside the organization. So I would say back to the Trent Baalke thing. I 100% read it that way, Tyler. The you couldn't hire someone to, if you don't like Trevor Lawrence and whatever, they do have a franchise quarterback there. So there's one check. You're in Florida, no taxes, good weather. So
Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, you've got some pieces on that team that are good. I think a lot of the owners are difficult to deal with. So if you take that out, the GM has just been a disaster if you look at his track record. So,
I mean, you go back to Sam Fran, man. Like, look, they built a dynasty there, and they couldn't keep their freaking egos in check, and it crumbled.
I'm hearing Robert Saleh is the top candidate for that team. I don't know if that's true or not, but
yeah, I heard the same thing.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I was hoping that if we went with Joe Brady, we could get a guy like Robert Saleh, but as D coordinator, but
with him going back to him getting head coaching opportunities, I can't blame him. You know what I
mean? I feel like he's gonna, I think he's head coach or bust. To be honest, I don't think he wants anything else. But
San Francisco offered him to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league, and I think that if he doesn't take a head coaching job, he's going back to San Fran.
I mean, if you look at Robert Saleh, though, it's kind of got to leave a bad taste in your mouth, right? Like, or I feel like you never really got a chance because you're pretty much married to Zach Wilson. I don't care what you say. That was an organization decision. They thought they found the next Patrick Mahomes. Bust. Then you sign Aaron Rodgers. He gets hurt 4 plays into the season. You're stuck with Zach Wilson again with a more awkward situation. And then you get Aaron Rodgers, and he just sucks, and you're butting heads. And I don't ever think really he got a fair shake. Now, put him with Trevor Lawrence and let him rebuild that defense. I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
So that's really all the breaking news, unless we got something else that I missed.
The Pelicans game got postponed.
That is true. That is a fact.
That's breaking news.
Yeah, it got postponed to what? Tomorrow, the next day?
I didn't see a date.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. But well, guys, y'all ready to do some recapping here of the divisional round?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Let's jump right into it. We have for the first game on the 3:30 slate on Saturday, we had the Kansas City Chiefs going to beating the Houston Texans 23-14. Patrick Mahomes went 16 for 25, 177 yards and a touchdown. Kelsey had a big game with 117 a TD. CJ Stroud 245 passing, unfortunately was sacked 8 times. Mixon 81 yards and a touchdown. Shane, what'd you think about this game, big dog?
The Kansas City defense looks good. If their names aren't Kelsey or Worthy, I don't know I don't know who else Kansas City's going to throw the ball to in the playoffs. They only hit 4 receivers. Kelsey was 7 of the receptions. Worthy was 5. One guy had 3, and then the running back had 1. So, I mean, there's not a lot of diversity in that passing game right now. And their running game has been decent, right? Pacheco, I don't think, is healthy. So, Kansas City, while they don't look to me maybe the fun team they used to be to watch, right, with the aerial attack, they are continuing to win games. There would not be my pick to win versus the Bills. I would hope that the Bills would win. I think the Bills would be a more exciting game to watch. The Chiefs really have not been that exciting this year. They still figure out how to win. They got great coach and they had a great defense. Just like with the Vikings, it's hard to get in a rhythm when your defenders are in the backfield all game. So,
100%. I do want to touch on something here though. And like, look, I'm not the guy that blames the refs or want to be the guy that blames the refs a lot or make them a narrative, a part of a game. But good Lord, there was 2 times in this game that I can point out that specifically extended drives for Kansas City. And one of them was so bad. I mean, so bad. Troy Aikman's even like, oh, come on, man. Like talking about that. When are we going to stop this? Like, there has to be penalties for the refs of missing calls this bad. There's a roughing the passer call where Will Anderson Jr. didn't even contact his head and roughing the passer.
Was that the one where he shoved him? He was just like he was going to block a pass. Momentum was carrying him through the process, and he just goes, oop, and then basically had to use Patrick Mahomes to stop him.
And he went like this.
As the ball is leaving his hands.
Yeah, they called it hit to the head. So that's one. And then you had the one where Patrick Mahomes is basically running around, and then ducks down, doesn't get hit, and the 2 defenders hit themselves, and somehow that's unnecessary roughness on the defenders.
Yeah, that stigma is always going to be there for the Chiefs with the refs.
You're also missing the hip drop that they missed, the hip drop tackle
too.
that they missed. It was egregious. You sit there and you say at the beginning of the year, this is going to be a point of emphasis that we're going to, focus on this year. And for the entire football world to see, you miss it.
Well, they're going to use the excuse of, oh, we don't want the flags to affect the game.
But the problem is those flags that they do call do affect the game.
Like that was 2, literally, I know one for a fact was a touchdown drive, 100% a touchdown drive because they extended. I want to say it was the same drive. They had both of them just extended a drive for another touchdown. And it's like, yeah, they lost by 9 in the grand scheme of things. And look, the Texans didn't deserve to win this game, but my goodness, when you have the announcers going, oh, come on, that are supposed to be impartial, it's a little ridiculous nowadays. Like,
I think they need to look at in the offseason. I don't know how you do it, but Mahomes has turned into doing this thing where he slows down or waits to try to slide last minute. It's like he's trying to bait them into a penalty. And I don't know if they can do, kind of like when Kenny Pickett did the fake slide in college, they kind of like, you can't do that anymore. But like, if you look at Mahomes, he's like pulling up or slowly doing stuff like he's baiting these guys in because he knows he's going to get the call if it's even close.
Well, I mean, the way you fix that is just let him get lit the fuck up, but that's never going to happen.
I think they need to get rid of some of these protections that the quarterbacks have once they become a runner. Like if you slide like that, I get if you slide, you're giving yourself up. But the fact that, like you said, they're waiting so long, like I'm hearing people yell, ban the slide. If you want to go down, just dive or stop being a bitch and just run. Get out of bounds. So, but I mean, he's done that before where like he's gone to the sideline, he's faked like he's going out of bounds, players let up, and then he gets a couple more yards. So,
no, I agree. Something needs to happen because like the one where I'm talking about with 2 guys that collided into each other.
Yeah, they hit each other.
He dropped to the ground. I'm like, dude, you're not getting like. Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. I agree with you, Shane. This is their brand of football is not fun to watch. It's defense, running the ball, and just hanging around, and then just when it's time to win, they win. And that's what championship teams do. And hats off to him. That's all I really got to say about this one. CJ Stroud tried his best, but yeah, pass rush was too monstrous. I mean, what did Karlaftis have? 3 sacks by himself? It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And was he was the one that blocked the kick?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know we're gonna do the ATS episode later, so be on the lookout for that, folks. But I'm gonna tell you how frustrating it is to bet the spread of 8.5 just for them to lose by 9 points. That was very frustrating. Very, very frustrating about this game. But anyway, that's just my own personal losses. So y'all ready to talk about something fun though? Or unless y'all have anything else y'all want to add about this game?
Nah.
Sure. Let's go on to the next one.
Let's go on to it. We had the Detroit Lions losing to the Washington Commanders 45-31 in your night game on Saturday night. And whoo boy, was this game a whole lot of fun to watch. Look, Jayden Daniels is a bad man. Ice water in his veins. He went 22 of 31 for 299 with 2 TDs, added 51 yards rushing on 15 carries. Brian Robinson had 2 touchdowns on 77 yards. Washington defense forced 4 interceptions and 1 fumble. And I think Jared Goff may have turned back into a pumpkin. Shane, I'm gonna let you take this one right now. And what'd you think about this game, buddy?
I think the Commanders had their number the whole game. I did not think the Lions came out flat. I didn't think they were gonna come back at all. The Commanders keep just going out there and showing they're a good football team, well coached, and they're all playing, I think, inspired football. So I'm rooting for them this weekend. I'm hoping it can be a Bills Commanders Super Bowl instead of Bills Lions, since that's out the gate. But Jayden looks great. We're always a little biased because we love our LSU guys, but he's looked incredible for a rookie. We were talking about that GM for the Giants. His teenage son was like, well, if you're going to do anything, I'd go get Jayden Daniels. I mean, you only get this job once. You might want to do it right or something to that nature.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
he's like, you're only picking his high once.
Yeah, so it's like, he's just been incredible. B-Rob's look great. Terry McLaurin, I think they've been playing inspired defense, but it's like it reminds me kind of the old Saints, the bend don't break kind of defense. Should be an interesting game with the Eagles. So, but was sad to see Detroit lose, but I think they'll be back. They got a lot of talent on that team. I'd be curious to see who they replace their OC in DC with.
So just on that real quick, Joe, before you jump in, the DC rumor is that Calvin Shepard is going to be the new DC. That's the rumor going around. That's a hire from within, if I'm not mistaken.
Any news on the OC or no?
OC, I haven't heard anything yet. But right before we started recording, I got a tweet about that's the rumor for the DC.
Gotcha.
So, Joey, I'm gonna let you go, and then I'm gonna probably go into soliloquy about Jayden Daniels. But go ahead.
A soliloquy. Just a couple things that I have read lately. This is the first time in Washington franchise history that they have won multiple road games in multiple road playoff games in a single postseason. So I don't know if that's going to, if that tells you anything or not about how good this team can be. But Jameson Williams, that interception was brutal. He's the first wide receiver to throw an interception in 50 years.
Can I paint a picture real quick?
Go for it.
Since you brought that up.
Yep.
Down 10 in the second half. Why in the world are you calling a reverse pass with your wide receiver who has not thrown a pass? What the fudge are we doing?
Can I take this question?
Go for it.
Tyler, you have to put the ball in your elite playmaker's hands. And Jameson Williams is an elite level playmaker. For anyone that doesn't know this, I'm messing with Tyler because our friend Corey loves to just pump up Jameson Williams. So me and Tyler are on the same page with Jameson Williams. Not that we dislike the gentleman, but no. I 100% agree. How you're putting it, Jameson Williams never played quarterback, did he? As far as I'm understood.
I mean, maybe high school, but
maybe high school. Yeah. So
you were putting a guy in a position to make a decision whether to throw the ball or not, who doesn't have to do that normally.
Yeah.
In the biggest game of the year. What the hell are you doing?
I go back to the Lions get very cute with that whole coaching staff, and If it worked, everyone would have loved it. It didn't work, so we get to critique it. And I think they opened themselves up to that. If you're going to do stuff like that, you have to take the criticism.
Yeah, dude. Look, and the whole Jameson Williams thing, hats off to him for following his blockers incredibly to the end zone on a 61-yard run. You know, I'll give the man his credit. His ability to follow his blockers was phenomenal. But Joey, you go right ahead.
Yeah, tell me how y'all really feel about Jameson Williams.
I mean, his one catch for 16 yards was surely impactful, though, and so was his pick. But anyway, I digress.
Anyway,
can we get Corey on this show to do a Jameson Williams recap?
100%.
That would be fantastic.
Season breakdown right here.
Yeah.
Just a couple notes from the game. Jahmyr Gibbs, 20 touches, 175 for 2 touchdowns. He's the only running back in franchise history with 150 plus total yards and multiple touchdowns in a playoff game. Jayden Daniels, I know you want to, have your little soliloquy about him, but let me just say how good he did that night. 22 of 31, 350, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he is also, remember last week's trivia question, this rookies that were
in the conference
into the conference champion. He is the highest drafted rookie to reach the conference championship. So I think honestly, like this game coming up is going to be a little closer than everyone thinks. We'll talk more about it on ATS, but
yeah, we'll break that down.
He's also the first rookie ever with 300 plus total yards in each of his first 2 playoff games.
Oh yeah, I mean, what?
Paint your soliloquy. Do your poetry.
I don't remember a quarterback being this calm, this poised, and this collected. I mean, 8 years into their career in their first playoff games, like what this kid's doing as a rookie. Because let's not play around here. He is carrying the team right now. Like the defense is playing opportunistic and everything like that, but if they don't have him, they're nowhere near this spot. That pass to Dommy Brown, the freaking dime he dropped on that deep ball, just like the deep ball accuracy is amazing. The way he's processing on the RPO scheme is making him pretty much unstoppable because you have 3 options on that play every time. What I've seen from him, look, Shane, I've been the Eagles defender, and I picked him to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC and everything like that. Man, I don't know. The ride that the Commanders are on right now, I don't know if they don't go in there and pull the upset 100%.
I think you're going to see more of the second game. The Eagles, the first game they beat the Commanders. They had to come back in the fourth quarter, and they were the better team, right? Like, yeah. I think Commanders were still figuring it out. That second game was like lights out. Whoever had the ball last or, went to overtime. I could probably see the NFC Championship going off like that because it's a little bit closer to what it was. So, but dude, I think they're going to – I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I would love to see Commanders Bills. I would just love to watch that game. And then if it's the Chiefs and the Eagles, I don't even know if I watch that game because it's just like I've seen that show before, and it's just like, okay.
I will say, Commanders Chiefs definitely interests me though because it's almost
Commanders Chiefs would be good too. Yeah,
it's like, is it a passing of the torch? Like, you know what I mean? Can the upstart stop the dynasty from happening? Right. But I do want to say I want to give credit to Jahmyr Gibbs. That backfield is his now. I love David Montgomery, but Gibbs is playing at a whole nother level, and it's very close for me, like going into next year, whether it's Bijan or him as number 1 running back
in fantasy,
or overall. I mean, look, you can pay Saquon. The age thing is always going to be an issue for me, or it's the possibility of a drop off. But look, those 3 guys are the top 3 backs easily. I mean, you could throw Derrick Henry in there too, but. I think those 4 are easy the top 4 backs. I just want to give him his praise because, good Lord, is like when you just watch guys play, it's like, oh, okay, he's just better than most guys on the field. And that's how I feel about Jahmyr Gibbs sometimes. But other than that, that's all I got to say about this game, y'all.
Now, them re-signing Montgomery, what do you think? Do you think they tried to move on from him, or because I mean, if he's there, it's like Dan Campbell would let him out first, even though you could see the talent Gibbs has. It's like almost felt like it was like a loyalty thing. Like, well, we'll let the senior guy roll out, and then we're spelling in Gibbs. You think that Gibbs is going to be the running back, and Montgomery's just going to spell him, or?
I think so. I think you'll see more Dave Montgomery taking I heard somebody say this on another podcast. I want to say it's the footballers, but I'm just trying to give credit where it's due. Is like Dave Montgomery's kind of like the tenderizer, right? And then you bring in Gibbs to be the sizzle and the flash and everything like that. So kind of beat the defense into submission first, and then let Gibbs do his thing. But me personally, I try to start feeding Gibbs more. He's becoming Alvin Kamara-esque, with his skill set.
And I think that's honestly with that, I think you keep David Montgomery for that reason.
Yeah.
You give Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit of rest. You get, like you said, you could break down the defense and then put Jahmyr Gibbs back there, and he can run rough shop all across that defense. It'll be interesting to see.
For sure. Well, let's move right along to our next game. We had the Eagles beating the Los Angeles Rams 28-22 in a snow game. Weather definitely played a big factor in this one. I will say Jalen Hurts did go. Jalen Hurts went 15 for 20 for 128 yards, but he did have 7 carries for 70 yards and a long touchdown run, which I don't know if y'all saw it in the first quarter. That thing was a thing of beauty. Like, if you ever just see something get schemed up perfectly, that's kind of how this was. Like, he had 2 offensive linemen fucking pulling perfectly in front of him. It was really cool to watch. But the star of the game was Saquon Barkley. I mean, what did I say last week, guys? He was going to go for 150 and 2. Yeah, he went for 2 and 2. So with runs of 62 and 78 for his touchdowns, he was phenomenal. I'll tell you what, who really surprised me was Matt Stafford. Man, he balled out in bad weather, 324 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he did lose a fumble. I'm pretty sure. No, I don't think he had a pick. But Kyron had over 100 yards. But like I said, weather played a big factor. My kind of analysis on this game, my goodness, the passing game for the Eagles is really starting to concern me. I know weather played a huge factor in it, but that is a little concerning going into next week's game. Also, something to note is Jalen Hurts did sustain a knee injury in the third quarter, so that may come into play in the conference championship game. But all reports is that I've been seeing that he's going to be okay. So, but I mean, look, Barkley's the star of the show here again. That offense moves through him, and then it's just basically defense. They play through their lines, like I said, like we've talked about before. Joey, what was your take on this game? And because I know Shane's got a lot to say about this game, so I want him to go last.
I mean, like you said, weather did play a big factor. I don't think it's going to play a big factor this week because I just checked it. It's supposed to be 40.
Okay.
And just a gentle breeze, which cold, gentle breeze isn't really great. Saquon Barkley is a monster. He deserves a Super Bowl just for how good of a player he is. The question is, do the other 52 men on that roster deserve a Super Bowl? 460, with 4 touchdowns against the Rams this season. That's just pure domination. But I think their matchup with the Commanders is going to be very, very dangerous. Who is my question is, who is Philly's backup quarterback again?
It's Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about that if I was a Philly fan.
I mean, you don't feel good, but
because I can tell you, Jalen Hurts is going to play in that game.
For sure.
He's going to try his damnedest to play. Not that I don't think he's a doubt, but if you come up with a bum knee and you're a fairly mobile quarterback, you kind of have that in the back of your mind, like, I don't want to jack this up anymore and not be able to play.
Well, it also hinders a bunch of their offense because their offense has been run heavy, and it has involved him. Shane, let me ask you real quick with that knee. Do you go with the tight end like tush push and not put Jalen Hurts in? I know you've been a big proponent of it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the dude's 6'1", but like when you're on a team of giants and you have bigger guys, like, I don't understand why they do that, because Kenny Pickett is your now their third stringer. To me, looked better than Kenny Pickett when he played. I can't remember the guy's name.
Tanner McGee, baby, Tanner McGee.
But they'd have to see how his knee's holding up, I guess, in pregame. But I don't see them changing out of it if they haven't changed out of it now. But
True.
I think you could easily just do it with Saquon or tight end, but they'd have to practice that. Like I think you said last time, maybe Saquon, maybe they're practicing that this week to give him that option.
Yeah. I
Be
mean,
curious to see.
The dude's nickname is Quadzilla, so I don't think leg strength is an issue with Saquon.
Yeah, he's pretty stout.
Yeah. So Shane or Joey, I don't want to cut you off. I know I kind of did there. Is there anything else you want to add to this game before Shane goes off on me here?
No, I kind of want to see Shane do it, but I will say, come to think of it,
I don't know what y'all think I'm going to say.
I don't know what you're going to say either. Tyler has this idea that you're going to say something, so I'm here for it.
A bunch of good debates about the Eagles and about the Eagles this season. So I'm just waiting. I'm anticipating something coming from you on this.
So before we get to that though, I had a thought just now. What if, Jalen Hurts is truly hurt? He can't make it through the game. He wouldn't be able to play in the Super Bowl. They win this game and then win the Super Bowl. Both of their Super Bowl wins would have been at the hands of backup quarterbacks.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking a lot of ifs here, though.
I know,
plus, you're talking about Mr. Nick Foles, okay?
He's
a little better than Kenny Pickett.
No, it's
Put
not
some
Mr.
respect on his name.
It's not Mr. Nick Foles.
We're a family show. We're a family show. I drop F-bombs. We're not going to drop D words here. No.
Big.
Damn it.
Nick. That's all I'm going to say. Big.
Okay.
Jesus.
Nick. Okay.
Anyway, Shane, the floor is yours, buddy. Let us know how bad the Eagles were.
I mean, they won the game again. The only thing that's consistent on that team to me is Saquon. The defense looks great, and then they let the Rams in the snow march down the field. I think if it wasn't snowing, the Rams could have won that game pretty easily. I think it did affect even though he had 24 yards, Stafford at the end of the game, I think that ball slipped out. He'd normally make that throw to Puka. Such a talented roster for the Eagles, and they just still, besides Saquon, just don't look like they have it together. But once again, just same thing I said with the Chiefs. They keep winning, and you can't take it away from them. Chiefs, Eagles are both in the championship and could easily be playing each other in the Super Bowl. It is what it is. They won the game. They didn't look convincing to me besides Saquon. But when you can win games like that in tough weather, I'm curious to see how they look versus the Commanders. They've seen two different Commanders teams. They beat them, and then they were in like a slugfest. I'm not necessarily saying that game could have went either way. It wasn't like either team dominated. It was just like they were just going to town, beating the crap out of each other. So I'm curious to watch that game. But I think for this game, Eagles weather helped them out.
Yeah. Look, I 100% agree with you. One little thing I do want to shout out. Did y'all see the sack that Jalen Carter had? It was on a third down. It was early in the game where he just picks up Matthew Stafford. And you can see the other Eagles linemen and be like, no, don't slam him.
I feel like he's trying to be like Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh was who he was. I feel like Jalen Carter seems like he's kind of like a goofball, but like he's trying to be meaner than he is.
It was just the look on Stafford's face. He's like, oh God, don't slam me. Because, I mean, he looked like he was going to Suplex City on that one. So it was just funny. I just wanted to point that out real quick on that one. Well, let's move right along to everybody who I'm pretty sure everybody thought the game of the week, right, was going to be this game. And look, at a certain point, it didn't disappoint. We had the Buffalo Bills beating the Baltimore Ravens 27-25. Josh Allen went 16-22 for 127 yards. He ran it 10 times for 20 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Bills defense forced 3 turnovers on Lamar, 1 pick, 1 fumble, and then he had a fumble from Mark Andrews. Lamar ended up going 18-25, 254 with a touchdown and interception, like I said, and only had 39 yards rushing. Henry had his 80 yards and a touchdown. Really didn't do anything in the first half. I think they held to like 21 yards rushing. So really did all his damage in the second half. And then we'll get to Mark Andrews. We will definitely get to Mark Andrews in this year. But to me, it was a hard-fought game. The Ravens did their dangest to come back. Ultimately fell short. unfortunately, the narrative's going to be there for Lamar. This one, I don't know, really falls on him as much. Look, that fumble was egregious. I'll give you that one. The other one, not terrible, but this may not be a popular take, and I know a lot of people are going to blame Mark Andrews for that drop. And yeah, the ball was there, and he could have made the play on it. Are we just not going to talk about that ball being late and behind him? Look,
Yeah,
let's not
wrong.
I mean, he's not supposed to catch it backing up like that. He's supposed to catch it out front, so he can just go it and put it right over the goal line. So that ball was late. It was behind him, but Mark Andrews, he should have caught it. Don't get me wrong, but that 2-point conversion was killer, and I don't think Lamar is catching enough heat for it on that one.
Well, also, if he catches it, they don't win the game. They just tie. It doesn't, like they're acting like he lost them the game. Like you said, the ball wasn't thrown well. They had to do everything they could to try to tie the game. They weren't in a position to win it. I mean, the game to me was everything I think we talked about. It was two really great teams just giving it their all for 4 quarters. So, overtime would have been like just a bonus to me for that game. But, I think Mark Andrews' last fumble before that was like 2019. I think Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh did a good job of coming out and saying they wouldn't be there without Mark Andrews. He's made plays throughout the season. So is Lamar, just as an unfortunate, same thing. Stafford's throw usually is on point, and that thing sailed out of bounds. It's not like he's a terrible quarter, so someone had to lose. The Ravens did. It was a close game. There's nothing to hang their head on. I do have the trivia for today for you two gentlemen. I don't know if Joey's looked up because he said he has some, but both of these teams did something this year that's never been done in the history of the NFL.
Okay, this is not my trivia
individually.
Question,
so there's two things. The Ravens did something, and the Bills did something. Do you know what either of those two things are?
No.
They both scored over 500 points and allowed less than 400 points.
No, so these two stats I have are for individuals. One's a Ravens stat that they did, and one is a Bills stat. So the Bills stat is they're the first team to have 30 rushing and 30 passing touchdowns in a season.
That's fair.
I think I know the Bills one. I might know the Bills one.
I just said the Bills one.
Did you say the Bills one? I thought that was the Ravens one. I heard Ravens. Ravens. My bad.
No.
My bad. I heard Ravens.
I know the Bills.
Ravens.
I heard Ravens. I have another one about
the Ravens one. Is they're the first team to have a 2,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard rusher.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have another one for the Bills on that.
That's a crazy stat.
So Josh Allen joined Steve McNair as the only 2 quarterbacks with multiple rushing touchdowns in multiple playoff games since the merger.
Damn, that's a good stat.
But that's not my trivia for the day.
I'm just saying, y'all bring some heat here. I feel like I'm bringing nothing to the show.
So
your charming personality, Tyler. Your charming personality is what you bring.
Thank you.
So here's my trivia. The Ravens, for another season, have not won multiple playoff games in one postseason. When is the last time they won multiple postseason games in a single postseason?
They just made the NFC Championship. Oh, no, because they were the 1 seed.
Were they? Was it when they were the Browns?
13? No, it was 13.
It was Super Bowl 47.
Yeah, it was 13.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought
2013.
So. Yeah, because
it has been 12 years since they've won multiple. No, it's not even multiple road games. It's multiple games in a postseason.
Yeah, but you look at the road games they played. That's the year that they played Denver to double overtime.
Yeah,
and Jacoby Jones, RIP, got behind the defense for a long touchdown. I vividly remember that one.
There was that one, and then the last game in Baltimore for Ray Lewis.
Yep. So Joey, I want to get and Joey and Shane. This is a question for both of y'all. Watching this game, they're both great teams. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna lie though. Leaving this game, I kind of felt like the better team lost. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to take anything away from the Bills at all. I'm just kind of saying.
I would say the Ravens clearly have more talent on their team. They have 9 Pro Bowlers, which was what they were saying. They were trying to make the case that the Bills, even though the stats are better for Lamar, the Bills were the 2 seed and we're playing at home because of Josh Allen. They only have two Pro Bowlers. So I would say, like, roster wise, the Ravens clearly have a better roster of talent. And the Bills are lacking, I think. I mean, like, Amari Cooper went there. I was asking this. I was like, does he even still play for them? Because, like, they got him. He looked great. Like, they got a touchdown, like, right out the gate, and then he's, like, disappeared. So, to me, I do think the Bills are better set up to play the Chiefs, though.
Yeah, no. I do too. Because I'll be honest with you, I thought it was a bad matchup for the Bills going into that game. Because hats off to them, because the way Derrick Henry ran all over them the first game, look, they did a great job in containing him. Holding him to 80 yards is a win every single day in my book. Like, you hold him under 100, you're gonna win. So they did what they need to do. They forced the turnovers, and like you said, it's unfortunate Lamar's gonna catch some heat for not winning again in the playoffs. Look, everything the guy has said, it proves he wants to win, right? It's never been a question of that to me. It's just unfortunate events. And I was listening to something this morning. It was on ESPN, and I want to get y'all's opinion on it. I firmly believe this now. Like, we all remember Michael Vick, not for the dogfighting, okay, but for on-field stuff, as one of the greatest running quarterbacks of all time. I'm going to say it now. I think Lamar's passed him as the greatest running quarterback of all time. And I don't think, and he's done it in less years. Like, this is what we thought Michael Vick could have been, right? And I just want to get y'all's opinion on it.
I feel like Michael Vick was the mold. Like, he was the prototype.
Yeah, he was the
for
first
that
one,
style.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson just, more people have been that type of quarterback. And somehow Lamar Jackson is still doing it, because since Michael Vick, how many running quarterbacks have we had? And how many of those players got hurt early in their career and it completely derailed them? So I think the fact that he's had the longevity of being healthy, that has helped him, because if he gets hurt within the first 2 years of his career, we're not talking about the same Lamar Jackson.
No.
So it's the fact that you have to be lucky enough to not get hurt early into the year or early into your career, and you can continue this dominance that Lamar has had. Michael Vick had that longevity until, of course, he went and did the things he did. But if he doesn't do those things, are we, how hard is this conversation going to be?
I mean, look, Lamar's already the number one, already has the most rushing yards for a quarterback all time, and he's just getting started. But look, I just wanted to put that out there. But Jayden, what do you want to say, buddy?
I would say that while Michael Vick was electric, he has no MVPs.
Yep.
He didn't get his teams really deep into the playoffs until he was on, like, I think maybe the Eagles roster. I couldn't tell you if he made it anywhere in the playoffs. But whether Lamar hasn't won consecutive games, he's got his team competing. He's on the verge of potentially a third MVP. So I would say he's clearly way advanced and way blown past where Michael Vick kind of like creeped the door open. Lamar Jackson blew through that thing.
Oh, 100%.
I would venture to say Josh Allen is a better running quarterback than Michael Vick, and so is Jayden Daniels. I think if he could stay healthy, will be better. And it's just because the game's advanced. Michael Vick did it, and again, it's nothing to knock him. It's like, it's almost that basketball thing. Like, people talk about Jordan in a certain way because he started a trend and he won and he played in a tougher time. So it's like you're not comparing. Everyone tries to compare LeBron to him. You can't. It's two totally different time frames and two totally different types of guys. But I do agree. Lamar has proven that he's he's who any other running quarterback should try to be. They should not try to be Michael Vick. They should try to emulate him.
Yeah, and look, I don't know why, and I just shout out Todd Monken as well, because the minute that man stepped in as offensive coordinator, his passing stats have gone through the roof, and he's really brought his game to another level. Why he's not getting more head coaching looks, I don't know, but that's another guy that I think deserves a few looks. Just want to shout out Lamar there. But guys, guess what? We have more football to talk about that wasn't in the NFL. Did y'all know that?
I saw
a lot. Unfortunately, know that.
Yes.
So we're talking about the college football final. We had the Ohio State Buckeyes beating the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 34-23. At one point, it was 31-7. And I thought, oh my goodness, guys, are we going to have another Notre Dame blowout in the national championship? Kind of did. Hats off from the fighting back. I like what Freeman's building over there. Ryan Day was, had some struggles, lost to Michigan again, but he's definitely bought himself some more time with winning a national championship. There was a little controversy, though, at the end of the game with the announce team. I don't know if y'all saw this or not.
I heard about it.
So when they won, for those who don't know, when the Ohio State Buckeyes won, they cut to Kirk Herbstreit, and he was caught being teary-eyed. And for those who don't know, his alma mater is Ohio State, so it did kind of come off as looking not the greatest in the world as an impartial announcer. But look, the way I look at it is we're all human. He's had a lot of stuff that's not very publicly known happen to him that he just came out with, like his wife being diagnosed with breast cancer, his son dang near needing a heart transplant and stuff. And he just said it. This is all a Pat McAfee show, so if you want to go watch it, you can go watch the clip there. He said it was just kind of emotional release. It doesn't make it like he apologized for it and everything like that, but it wasn't anything like, oh, he was so excited because Ohio State won. Like, yeah, but I get it sometimes, like, because this is his last college football game. So sometimes there's a finality, emotions get the best of you. Does he need to not do it again, ever do it again? Yeah, that needs to be the one and only time we'll give him the pass here. But for one of the best announcers out there, I can give him a pass. I don't know if y'all think, but
I think honestly, like, dude should have just taken a break this year. Like, we wouldn't have been mad. No one would have been upset. People would have understood. I mean, it had, like, I was listening to a podcast this morning. They were talking about that, and they're like, your wife died. Your dog died. Your wife has breast cancer, and then your son was really sick. Like, take a break. Just, ESPN has a big pool of talent that they could easily pull from, and they could probably plug somebody in for one game, really one season, and just be like, go take care of your family, go do your thing. That's like people say, oh, well, Joel Klatt is a Colorado alum. Why is he calling the games on Fox when most of them are Colorado games? It's like, at some point, the good teams are going to be, the good teams, and the alma maters are going to have somebody that is an alum call their game. You can't miss it, especially if it's a big school like Ohio State, like Alabama, Colorado. You're going to have these moments where it's going to happen. I don't take any problem with him calling a game. I didn't have a problem with him getting emotional.
But he doesn't do this every time. You know what I mean? It's not the time.
He's hit that point now where it's like, okay, that's the last game I'm going to call until August or September. So he's going to have the time at home. He'll have his little blurbs with ESPN where they talk about something big that happened in college football that he'll do from his home studio. But other than that, he's off. Okay, finally, I can be home. So, yeah, he's going to get emotional, and you add the alma mater. Back to the game, though. I did not see Ohio State playing this well and Notre Dame playing this bad. I thought after that first drive of 9 minutes that it was going to be a slow game. I was like starting to scream, hammer the under, hammer the under. But
up, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, it picked up. I think the only person that this loss for Notre Dame helps really is Brian Kelly, because if Marcus Freeman won this game and won a national title, then you would see everybody Like they were starting to poke fun at Brian Kelly already with I need to go somewhere where I have the tools and the talent to win a national championship. He was one win away from doing it at Notre Dame. This guy was one win away from winning at Notre Dame. So it'll be interesting to see next season if Notre Dame comes back, if they don't have that national championship loss hangover. I'm excited for college football next year. I think a lot of, people sitting there harping on, well, the SEC is no more. They're not the strong SEC that we've always known. NIL and the transfer portal has helped that happen. I think, it'll continue. We'll start seeing some schools that aren't normally number one be in the top 10. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how next year plays out for sure. Shane, what do you think about the game, buddy?
Brian Kelly sucks. I don't like Chip Kelly. I don't like Ohio State. Kirk Herbstreit doesn't have to apologize for anything. He's a consummate pro. And if I lost my dog, I would cry multiple times. So I think the media can suck it and leave the dude alone. And I wish the Irish would have won. That's about the bullet points for me.
Short, sweet, and to the point. I freaking like it. So I think, gentlemen, is there anything else you want to cover? That's really what I got so far right now. We're going to start, football is starting to wrap up a little bit. We're going to have some off-season stuff like we keep talking about. We keep advertising. Keep on the lookout for Fantasy 365. We're going to have a draft segment show coming out. We got a lot of exciting stuff. Be on the lookout. ATS is going to be dropping right along with this episode. So drop a like, drop a subscribe. Let us know what y'all want to see, and we'll definitely make sure we get that out to y'all. But for this edition of the Noble Steady sort of sports talk recap show, that's going to be it. So, gentlemen, on that note, I wish y'all adieu, goodbye, and have a great rest of your week.
Go Commanders.
Later.